on the channel. Okay, there we go. Hey, and welcome to the show before the show. I'm your host, Patrick Marlette, your local game guy, and I'm joined by Will. Hey, Will.
Sup?
Yes, join us as we discuss Commander Masters. So it's a set full of sweet reprints, and of course we have 40 new cards coming by way of our pre-con commanders. Sadly, those aren't spoiled yet, so we can't talk about any of that stuff yet. However, you can expect us to cover at least our favorite of that lot of new cards. So expect a top 10 in the near future, rounding out what you should be picking up, singles or pre-con wise, from the pre-con commanders coming out for CMM. But also today we're going to be covering the best reprints so far, and that's not to say that there won't be more things spoiled that will be of benefit. I don't actually know what's being reprinted in the full set. My fingers are still crossed, so I actually bought the rest of Oswald. My fingers are crossed on seeing a Clan Ironworks. It's been so long since 5th Dawn. Can we please get another KCI? I desperately want to. I had a foil one and I sold it. I bought it for like $18, and I think I sold it for like 30. And now they're impossible to get, even non-foil.
I mean, I have a KCI. If you need one, I can send one to you.
You do? Oh.
Yeah.
I mean, I kind of want to have it ultra-arted. I want someone to do something with it. Is it non-foil?
It's non-foil.
Okay,
it's
yeah.
Just a standard one.
Exactly. Yeah, no, I would love to have something painted on it. I just need to come up with a few ideas, because that card is, I think it's good in the list. I'm not going to lie to you. Every time I play Oswald, I usually go for Metalworker. And I got a cool Metalworker to show off, actually. Wait up. Okay. Yeah, so Justin, all yesterday I was playing One Piece with Justin and just going on a food tour of New York. He was visiting for a little bit, but he has like 2 metal workers, but he had this one done. This was before Wizards got into the schematic art. This was well before that, and there's a guy that we use, DMP Alters, that did this style of work. So this is a schematic style metal worker.
Oh, nice.
Right?
Full screen Discord so I can see it better.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. That's cool.
Yeah, so this is the one I'm going to be rolling with in Oswald. His other one is even better, though. He has this illustrator doing these cards that look like they could be straight out of an animation. They're so damn good. Not to knock DMP. This is clearly a different style, but this will be perfect for my uses. And again, I generally go for Metalworker when I'm doing the combo line with Oswald and not KCI, but KCI still feels like it's a value add to the deck, just to have a different storm utility. But
yeah, because do you still run Scrap Trawler? I can't remember.
I do. So yeah, and I actually bought, just to stay on theme, I bought the schematic version of, I think I bought the schematic version.
Oh yeah, the creepy crawly one. Let's go.
Right. So I just want to have all the schematic stuff in there, just because it looks
yeah,
cool.
because you can make a pseudo Clock of Omen with a KCI Scrap Trawler and a key, because you can sacrifice the key, sacrifice the 2-cost, recur the key, replay it, tap it, untap the ring, repeat,
exactly.
repeat.
And you'll likely pull into more 2-drops to pull back the 1-drop, do it again, more 2. Yeah, exactly. And then KCI is paying for all of that, provided you have Scrap Trawler. And if push comes to shove, you can ultimately scrap the Scrap Trawler and push for a win at that point. You should be able to win at that point. You cruise by, shameless plug, subbed. I will make you a one basic of your choice in Wooburg. What is this? Dr. GJ, thanks for joining us, and hi everyone for jumping on the channel. Again, we're going to be covering exactly what the thumbnail says. We're going to be discussing our favorite reprints from the set thus far. This is going to be a wider discussion of cards than we would typically give in a pre-recorded video, but you can expect the typical listicle style videos for Commander Masters from us in the not too distant future. But before we jump into this one, I want to mention, if you're on other socials, we're now on all the other socials under the name Local Game Group. Don't ask me why we changed it. I'm still your local game guy. Will is still your local game guy. If there are ever girls on the channel, they're your local game gals, girls, whatever. But the group itself is called Local Game Group now. So there's an Instagram, there's the YouTube, obviously. There's a Discord if you want to join the Discord for discussions or updates. I feel like I generally use that channel because that has the largest audience from our other socials. But there's also a Threads. I've never liked Twitter, so I'm not going to start one now. But I did open up because you need an Instagram account to open up the Threads account anyways, so it was already built. You know what I mean? So we have one of those. If you want to follow along, you may. I don't think any of our major releases will be on those platforms, if I'm going to be honest with you. Nothing through the MTG Ambassador program should be on those other platforms, but we may share on those independently as well, just to drum up an audience from those separate sources. You know, it's weird. I understand like search engine optimization for YouTube. I don't understand it for any of these other platforms. Usually it's numbers, pouring money into it, and hashtaggery, from what I've seen. I'm not typing right. Oh, you're good. Hey everyone. Hey Robert. But Will, how have you been?
I've been good. I've been doing some prep work so that we can get to doing the cEDH live streams, and I can have a couple decks built. So looking forward to doing that. One thing I might try getting to do at some point is I'm thinking of making an alternate art using Lentegrity, or what is it called? I think it's Lentegrity, which is the little holographic things that if you adjust the angle of them, it shows like a moving picture or something like that.
Yeah.
So I was thinking for something like Godo, I might have like Godo making a clone of himself on that art or something like that.
Oh, I'd love it if he was just putting the helmet on.
Yeah.
That'd be kind of dope.
My friend has a Mana Vault art with the like OG floating cube thing, and he had it modified to be a Rubik's Cube, and I'm like, I might do that, but have it solving the Rubik's Cube when you tap it. Or like when you have it untapped, it solves it. Then when you tap it, it scrambles.
Oh, I love that. Yeah. And the mental frustration deals damage.
Yeah.
You're like, why did? And you need to change the flavor text or add flavor text to be like, why did I deconstruct this? Dude, that's great. Yeah, I love alter arts. I wouldn't mind alter arting a KCI though eventually. I just don't have in mind what I would want, but that's the last card I need for Oswald at the moment. I was just trying to see if there'd be like a reprint, but it feels very doubtful from this set. And I gotta say, like, they hit on a lot of cards Commander players would want, although I don't think we've seen a Dockside Extortionist. I'm not gonna lie, that's like a core card for many a Commander player. And I don't see it yet, so there's still time. I believe spoils end this Thursday, so if you're waiting for more spoils, do expect them to come out.
I don't think we're getting a Dockside, because I think Dockside just got reprinted like a couple sets ago.
Yeah, but they've doubled down on reprints before, and I feel like Dockside is one of the ones that needs it. Like Red didn't get too much. Like I have two things that we're going to talk about, at least from my end, which is less than green. So, and green is usually right now. Green is in a sad place in Commander. I hate to put it out there. It's not doing as well on the Wooburg pie as everything else. Can Oswald Metalworker be able to cast Eldrazi's for another win con? You technically could do something there. Like you could do I'm trying to think if there's like a Conjurer's Bauble line of play.
I mean, if you do the cast to destroy something Ulamog, you could, in theory, loop through your deck and then recast it a bunch of times to just nuke your opponent's everything, and then just pass turn with a bunch of tokens on board or something and win next turn.
Yeah.
So you could do that, but I think the Ballista plus the Halo Fountain are still the best win cons.
I agree. They're just the easiest to get to, and Halo Fountain works its way into the list. But on that note,
maybe we're potentially getting a card from the Commander decks that could also be another win con for the deck. But we'll be discussing that whenever they get spoiled.
Right. Yes. Just so you all know, I've seen what's to come, and it's good. It's good. I mean, I enjoy it. I'll also say that I would like to build out Zuladok in paper. So.
I looked upon my spoiler info and said it was good.
Exactly. Yes, the perks of being a brand ambassador. At this point, guys, I think it's time to jump into this video. Again, I'm Patrick Marlett, your local game guy. If you enjoy this content and want to help this channel grow, the best way to do so is to leave a like and or share this video now after the fact. If it was quality, please rate us on Google. But let's go ahead and go through in Warburg order. We're doing red before blue. So Warburg order, we're going to cover Commander Masters, the best cards from the set thus far. Again, this is going to be a more all-inclusive look than what our ultimate top 10s will be, so you get a little bit more from us. As we go through the colors, if there's a card that you would like to look at in particular that you think is a notable reprint for a downshift in rarity, or just the fact that it has been printed in several years, let us know. Some things slipped through the cracks, so we might have missed it. Also, we're over on Scryfall, you'll notice. Scryfall isn't always as up-to-date as, say, a Mythic Spoiler or the other one. There's two sites that are usually really, really on it, and then Scryfall sort of picks up within a 24-hour cycle. But most of the notable cards that I've seen are on Scryfall right now. Any thoughts, Will? Any other notes, Will?
As far as I know, Scryfall's actually up to date right now, but I'm a quickly check just to see if we haven't had anything else today. So Scryfall's good.
So, Mr. DJ Longhair says, cruise by, I got you a basic land altar. If you got a basic snow-covered plains altar, yes. And there's one list that I care to like alter out, and that's Oswald. Any mana crypts, not that I've seen yet. But so far as white is concerned, the first notable reprint that I noticed that I am excited about is not Flawless Maneuver. It's just not played, in my opinion. Grand Abolisher. So Grand Abolisher was originally printed as a rare. It is still a rare. We have both this copy. I don't know what they call this style in the middle here. The sort of inverse color frame.
I think that's supposed to be an etched foil thing.
Oh, this is an etched foil thing? Okay.
Yeah, I think so. The alternate frame, I think, is their way of showing etched foil without it being the actual foil thing for now. Yeah.
Got you. That makes sense.
Hard to show etched foil and kind of hard to show etched foil.
Wow, I love the flavor text on this one. And then we have Richard Kane Ferguson Grand Abolisher alt art, full art, which is really gnarly. But I've heard enough from you, heretic. So, best flavor text so far. It's exactly how I feel when someone plays this card. It's like, oh, you just don't want me to play Magic with you. I got it. But Grand Abolisher up there, the rarity, again, same as it has been before. I do want to make one more note, actually. As we discuss these cards and any listicles from the set, it's not from the standpoint of financing. Some cards just based off of their playability are, of course, going to be expensive. Some cards based off of their rarity, like limited print runs, are also going to be expensive. We're not really noting cards for those reasons, though. Any of the cards we mention on today's list and future list will be strictly for their playability in a commander setting. All right.
Yep.
But Grand Abolisher is probably the most notable reprint. It's been going up in price, and it's nice to see that we have 3 new copies to pull.
Because now that white's actually a good color, people want to run the good white cards, and Grand Abolisher is one of the best.
Right.
I also got to say, I either think the foiling on the alternate art Grand Abolisher is going to look super sick or super terrible. There's no in between.
No, I agree. I'm excited to see it. I feel like it's going to look good. Like, this color palette reminds me of Toxic Deluge from Double Masters. Like, very similar in tone, and that foiled out looks amazing, so I can only imagine. But yeah, Grand Abolisher looks good. I do want to say, just so Will knows, I didn't really say this off camera, we're going to be running till about like 12... 20 the most. We're actually going to someone's dance, like a salsa performance here, so I need to make sure that I get there on time. But yeah, this one's been great. Like Will was saying, it's supremely playable now. I know a lot of people weren't on Grand Abolisher initially because the double white, like, you never fetched dual lands that had white because they were less important, but now double white's not so hard to splash into your 4 or 5 color list. Like, it's
now you don't fetch dual lands that have green.
Yeah, exactly. Like, what a weird twist of fate. The next card I want to mention is Land Tax. So Land Tax, it's a 1 white enchantment. If you haven't seen this card before, if your opponent controls more lands than you may search your library for up to 3 basic lands, reveal them, put them in your hand, and then shuffle, right? So this is the beginning of your upkeep. You just need to find an opponent that has more lands than you. Typically very easy to accommodate. This card was originally printed in the uncommon slot, and I have to say, for its time, I believe it was from Legends, that might have made sense, but I don't. This is a really good effect. And I could see it at rare or mythic, and that logics with me. I believe that the last copies
Mythic.
were mythic as well, though, right? Like from Battle Bond, Double Masters. So it's in line with where this card should be, and I think that makes sense. And again, you get the same treatment here. There's the etched foil and then the standard version. Thoughts on land tax? I'm not on land tax. I feel like, generally speaking, land tax is reserved for mono-colored list.
Yeah, in my opinion, land tax is like really good for casual, not terribly good for cEDH. I think it's good in the probably two color decks. It's okay in the two color decks that want to run it. But for decks like Winota that have their own game plan, they don't really care.
Right, and it's important to note, like, the reason we're saying this is because a lot of 4 to 5 color lists might not even have 3 basics. But if you're just trying to fill hand in like thin deck, this is really good for finding those basics in your dual colored list, because it's not just plains, right? So it's really good effect for 1 white, and this is how you get your Grand Abolisher out. The next card I want to mention is Loyal Retainers. I love the art on this one. It's the most I don't know, like, domicile version of this card. The other ones are like, you know, people looking like they're ready to go to war. Or I have the Commander Arsenal version, which is uncommon, and then you have this one like dragging away like an explosive or something from this is the masterpiece from Amonkhet. But
Don't worry, I'm just doing a casual terrorism.
yeah, exactly. And then this one's just like people in a library.
And
It's
you have the differentiation of the art that this guy is responding to in the art, going,
yeah. He's like, I can't tell you. I can't tell you. So I have to say this is an odd uptick in rarity. So this one has been at uncommon. I believe my Commander Arsenal is listed as common. Mind you, when you bought that set, you got all the things, so they sort of just put the rarity anywhere. But in a set where the mythic rare slots aren't as many, it wouldn't feel great to pull Loyal Retainers, but I do have to say that this is still a playable combo card and something you would want to see. So hopefully this will bring the prices down of everything else, because I had no idea that they had actually shot up in value. Like,
yeah,
being a
you do what is it? Survival of the fittest to find Razaketh, discard Razaketh, find Loyal Retainers, play Loyal Retainers, get Razaketh back. I think that's the line that most people use.
Right, yeah, because it's important to know when you sacrifice him, it goes from grave to battlefield. You just need to make sure you do this before your combat begins. Obviously, it's really quirky. I believe this card was originally printed in Portal. Right. So it's like a lot of those cards cared about when you did actions relative to the combat phase. So that's why it has this sort of quirky wording. But it's one of those older cards that definitely needed a reprint, in my opinion. I had no idea about the price. Again, not that price is a factor, but generally speaking, the cards that are playable are going to drive a harder price. The next card to mention, in my firm opinion, is Sevinne's Reclamation. So it's not that we didn't get a reprint of this not too long ago with Dominaria Remastered. It's just that this is supremely playable, in my opinion. It's one of the better cards in white, and one of the reasons why you play white cards in your whatever colored list. Returning a permanent with a mana value of 3 or less, like a permanent, any permanent, is amazing. And then the fact that it has a flashback cost as well, so you can, if you cast this from your graveyard, you don't even have to use the flashback to do this. Secret, hint, hint. You'll actually get to copy this spell and choose a new target for the copy. So, I mean, you can use Underworld Breach and cast this for its standard cost of 3 and then have that effect. It's kind of a cool little manipulation, but the effect itself is fantastic. It's a cheap card. It's at rare, and I believe has always been rare. And mind you, its original printing was in a Commander precon, so you can ignore its rarity in that.
Same one as Dockside, I believe, actually.
Yes, and I don't think I have it anymore, but I had the box with Sevine, that precon. But yeah, it's one of the better cards in white. It's a perfect reason to play white. And speaking of reasons to play white, what was that?
I did want to say it's so good because Sevinne's Reclamation is actually underrated outside of Underworld Breach combos, because it's 3 mana, and you can, if you really want, get a fetch from your graveyard back to the board, crack it and ramp out, and then next turn you can flash back and get 2 things back. It's so good. It's just a very good card.
Yeah, and again, it's like super splashable too at its 3 cost. Like trading a 3 for 3 in your graveyard's perfect. The only thing that can make it better is instant speed. But
I
I mean,
know. That'd
but
be
I
a
mean,
little bit too disgusting, though. I'm just gonna get back my Rule of Law and Draenith Magistrate in response to you doing something. Have
yeah,
fun.
yeah. Well, Born Upon a Wind, you could do it then.
Yeah, true.
Just do that. Oh my gosh, yeah, that synergy's great. Last on my list of white cards is previous rare, a now mythic rare, the Smothering Tithe. So, Smothering Tithe has 3 copies in this set. I gotta say, my favorite alt art was actually from Double Masters, though. If you haven't seen this one, this little greedy, filthy Mox hand grabbing a bunch of coins, absolutely amazing. This is the copy you would have been able to pull from Double Masters. If you don't know about this card, it's somewhat of a staple in cEDH. It sees less play in cEDH, I think, than it would in a casual setting. But there are a lot of decks that appreciate all of the treasure generation. There are some drawbacks to this spell, obviously. Like if someone's playing a Collector Oof or someone's playing something that makes your artifacts enter the battlefield tapped, then your treasures aren't immediately viable, but they're still treasures and attacks on your opponents. This enchantment's amazing. The cost of this card has always been up there because again, has always been immediately playable. So seeing it again is great. I think it being in the Mythic Rare slot makes sense for the effect.
Yeah,
Am I
it's a
wrong?
good
Like,
greedy card. It
yeah,
feels like a bomb card. It makes sense to have a bomb card for a mythic.
yeah, yeah. So I don't mind that for this card, and that's really the last one I have to mention from White. Again, this is just from the set so far. We haven't seen everything yet. And I guess Steel Shaper's Gift, actually. I'm sorry. I didn't even notice they reprinted this.
That's on my list. I saw
Okay.
it and I'm like, oh yeah, always have to note when Steel Shaper's Gift is reprinted. It's such a good card.
Right. Yeah, this is another fifth. Well, see, this one's from Fifth Dawn. Maybe we still get KCI. That would be amazing. But yeah, let's go over your end of White.
So we can start with Steel Shaper's Gift since you brought it up. So it's just an equipment tutor. There's a bunch of equipments that are really good for utility, and we keep getting more and more dumb equipments that can either do good things or combo off.
Hmm.
Because Skull Clamp is a good one that a lot of people usually go for. Then you have stuff like Umbral Mantle and everything like that that combos off very easily. And then you have, I can never remember the name of it, but it's the thing from New Capenna that says your creature gets +1/+1 for every counter on it. That's a combo card with Devoted Druid.
Yes. Oh God, wait, I don't remember it either. I know that a lot of people actually like Sting as well from the new set. That's like it's like a pseudo combo card in Selesnya Sisay. Someone was saying in the comments of a recent
Yeah.
video. Like that. I mean, obviously Sisay finds this stuff herself, but this will help expedite the process in a lot of cases where perhaps you needed to tutor something else up for whatever reason. And depending on the deck, obviously this has a lot of play. This deck sees a lot of play in Boros Legend list. A lot of Voltron builds out there in the world. They always need copies of Steel Shaper's Gift, and we actually have an alt art that looks really dope. I have to say though, I think it was uncommon when it was originally printed. Yep. You'll notice that there's an upshift in the rarity of the tutors, and I want to say that for all of them, and I'm pretty sure everything from like your spell seeker to your demonic tutor have all upshifted. It makes sense because the card pool of the game has expanded and there are just more and more things that are relevant targets, that tutors are more viable than they ever have been, and they only get better over time. So I think it makes sense that they've shifted the rarity up to rare in Seal Shaper case.
Yep, yep. And also, by the way, found the card Luxior Giada's Gift.
Oh yeah, yeah.
That's
Yeah.
it. Yeah. Does Devoted Druid things because your -1/-1 counter gets counteracted by the +1/+1 from the gift, so you don't care if you have 2 million -1/-1 counters on it because you're just gonna get +1 million +1 million.
Mm. There's a face buried under the gold in the look closer on the 2x2 Smothering Tithe. What? Wait.
Oh yeah, wasn't there? There's a face on there if I remember correctly. It's somewhere.
Oh
I think
yeah. Is that a nose under there? Hold up. Sorry, I mean, well, this isn't exactly what this. Wait, oh, there is a face. There is a face. You see the mouth? The teeth are under the enchantment text box.
Oh yeah, I remember that one. Yeah, that was it.
Yo, I appreciate it even more. That hairy hand just Holding them down. All right,
My favorite art for Smothering Tithe is the Judge promo one. I just like it. It feels like it fits the best to me.
oh yeah, yeah, this one looks amazing too. They're all good. Like, good job. Oh yeah, look at the coin. The coin's got the guy coughing up gold. That's amazing. All right. Any other cards from White you want to mention?
Final one, and this is just a good pickup for the people who only recently started cEDH and may not have picked this up when it was initially printed. Heliod Suncrowned. You know this one, Patrick. It was the mono white commander you
Yeah.
played before, Oswald.
So, barely, but yeah, I remember
Yeah,
him.
for like 2 days.
Yeah, he's okay.
So Heliod's just a good combo with Triskelion or Walking Ballista. It's a really good card if you didn't play cEDH before this was printed, but you want to try it out. This might be a good time to pick it up.
Dip your toes, people. Dip those toes. Yeah,
Indeed.
and I believe that he has always been mythic rare. So just to frame it for you. But moving on to blue, the first one I want to mention is a card that's not frequently used in Commander, but for those extra turn decks, this is a big one. So I'm going to try to say the name. Capture of Jing Zhao is originally a rare, now a mythic rare. So far as extra turn spells are concerned, I would say that this is on par with the average cost that you would expect from a blue extra turn spell. It's a sorcery for 5 mana, does the thing. Again, this originally printed in Portal's 3 Kingdom, I believe.
And it's only ever been reprinted as a Judge promo, so we're finally getting a reprint.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
I think that this is the copy Justin has. And the prices are, again, to be expected. Portals, like the English copies in particular, because I believe that print run was limited on Portal English copy, they're rare. So getting this in this set is a big deal. A lot of this set will be opened up, like without a doubt. It's to my understanding, Commander is still the most popular format for Magic. So hopefully we'll see more of these. And other obviously other formats care about this card too, so that's good for everyone. The next card is almost I wouldn't say exclusively playable in Commander, but it's like a Commander favorite, and it's Cyclonic Rift. It is printed in a rare here. It's always been a rare to my knowledge, but Cyc Rift has one of the best overload effects in the game. If you just want to if you just want to reset the board, obviously this is less effective against the guy who has the Dockside Out and like just a bunch of fast mana to replay. But in a pinch, this is a lifesaver and a game changer. Like, I feel like every time this gets overloaded, it really mucks up everything for everyone. So yeah, still plenty viable. I have to say, I'm seeing people shift off of Cyclonic Rifts, and it's because I think they're getting a little bit greedier with like the kind of cards, the kind of interaction they include. But I still think that Cyc Rift is one of the better cards you should include in a list that incorporates blue. Personally. Yeah. But yeah, any thoughts on Cyc Rift? Is it like an auto include for you in every list, or?
Yeah, I think there's only like one blue list that doesn't include Cyclonic Rift, but it's for very weird and specific reasons. I just needed lower CMC for everything.
I agree. The next one, I think we were all anticipating and hoping for. And here it is, Fierce Guardianship. If you didn't get it originally, well, now you can get it. It was a rare from the Precon, right? It's a rare again. It's just a really good form of interaction. I feel like premium interaction should always come by way of rare. Like, and this is for any game. Any TCG, any CCG, it sucks to see these things printed in like a secret rare or a specialty rare or a mythic rare in Magic's case. And it's one of those things that every blue list should be running, namely in Commander, because this is a Commander exclusive card, right? But counter target non-creature spell, and if you have your Commander, this spell's free, right? So if you have to hard cast it, it's not the worst thing in the world. Obviously, you don't want to do that. But in a list where your Commander is generally the priority, yeah, this is great. Even if it's not in a list where your Commander's priority, like this becomes fodder for your Force of Will instead, right? It's a blue card. So it's always going to be potent in that sense. Yeah, I love this card. I'm glad that we're getting a reprint for the people that need it. me in particular, because I might actually build out a list that incorporates blue, and I'll need a copy of this. There are other staple cards though that will definitely need to be reprinted for my sake. And there's also a really cool alt art. This is not a clean image of this card, but we'll hopefully see it when we see it. Any thoughts on Fierce Guardianship? I mean, it's pretty self-explanatory, I feel.
Part is good. Not really anything else that needs to be said. I'm happy that they're reprinting all of the free commander spells though. It's very nice. I think we
Right.
just got deflecting swat spoiled today as well, or that might have been yesterday.
Yeah,
So
we glaze over Flawless Maneuver. I think Deadly Rollick is also on this list, but yeah.
yeah.
You're right. I don't know if we got the green one yet.
We did. I think we did. We got
Okay.
the green one on Wednesday.
Okay. He said questioningly.
Yeah.
Next up, we have what also got upshifted from uncommon to rare, Personal Tutor. So for a blue sorcery speed, search your library for a sorcery card, reveal it, then shuffle and put that card on top. This is not a premium tutor. Not a lot of lists use it. Any tutor to top of deck is tricky because it's not replacing anything in your hand. Like you'll go from 5 cards to 4 cards, and then next turn you get the thing, right? And it's sorcery speed, so you will have to wait. It's not like playing a vampiric tutor, or any of the equivalent instant speed top deck tutors, enlightened tutor, so forth, worldly tutor. This has always been like up there with Sylvan Tutor in my book. It's playable in the lists that need it, but not every deck wants it. However, there are, I believe it's just the one portal printing, right? So it's upwards of $50 right now, which is fortunate for everyone because if you wanted to include this in those lists that could use it, get your capture of Jing Zhao. Now you can hopefully get an affordable copy. There's 3 versions of it as well, so plenty of
Yeah.
choices.
Fantastic tutor that's needed a reprint for a while. Like you said, it doesn't go in everything. I think I've only ever had it in like 2, maybe 3 decks. I know the Eureka decks are going to be happy that this got reprinted. I know that like the polymorph decks are going to be kind of happy with it because all the good polymorphs are sorcery speed.
Mhm.
So happy that this card got reprinted. Also, by the way, I checked. The green one was reprinted on Wednesday. I was right. Vindicated.
Wednesday. Next up, and this is my last one for blue. And in my opinion, I think their upshifts in rarity made sense because this is a premium tutor. This is a very good card. Has anyone ever fought an Anala? We have Spellseeker. For 2 generic and a blue, creature, human, wizard, mythic rare, 1/1. This card lets you search about instant or sorcery that has a mana value of 2 or less. In a cEDH setting, that is a majority of your cards. We just named a card that works perfectly with this, Cyclonic Rift. We're getting a reprint of that, right? The overload doesn't add to its total CMC. It is a 2-cost spell, and you can put it right in your hand. This card is amazing. It doesn't care if, like a merchant scroll that the spell be blue. It literally searches up if you are in a 5-color list, any instant or sorcery 2 or less. It's great. It's the linchpin of many a combo play. It makes sense in my opinion at Mythic Rare. I love this version, this alt art version of the girl. This is the copy that I would want to play. It looks amazing. So Douglas Schuler, great job. And couldn't have been on for a better card, honestly. Like, I'm glad that this is superiorly playable and gorgeous looking. Anyway, that's my last blue card. I don't know if you have
Yeah,
anything to say about
those
Spellseeker.
those were the 4 blue cards I had as well. Spellseeker is so good though because ever since we've gotten Underworld Breach, Spellseeker Ephemerate has been the line to set up Underworld Breach outside of Intuition.
Yeah.
So it's so good. I think it's fantastic.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. And speaking of Ephemerate, like, we've got good art for Ephemerate too. So, look at, yeah, get out all
Did
that
Ephemerate
art,
get
but
reprinted in this or?
no.
Oh,
Wait, no, you might be right. You might be right.
I don't think it has.
No. No, that's okay. It's they're just looking at like EDH rec for combos or something. They're like, what do players want to play? Let me find it.
Yeah.
So moving on to black, we have a few cards on my list here. So starting at rare and being reprinted at rare, we have Deadly Rollick. So this is some premium black removal, and it's rare, right? So any premium interaction, I think, should be rare. It's a 3 generic and a black. If you control your commander, the spell's free. Exile target creature. Oh, but isn't that what white does? Not anymore. All right, so I remember that being a whole thing when this got printed. It's like, why doesn't it say destroy? It's like, I don't know what to tell you.
Black has always had exile effects as well. The get off your high horse, random guy.
Yeah, but I remember that being like a qualm with these precons, like the Commander 2020s, when we talked about it. It like, obviously if you play in black, you're happy. Exiling a thing is like the next step up. Like no one has that. Unless you're hitting a squee, or unless you're hitting a food chain creature, like it doesn't help. But you're never going to use this on that target. This is great. It's a great spell. Obviously, it gets cut in a lot of lists like a snuff out would when you're considering the ad nauseum curve, right? You want to make sure you don't hurt yourself too much, but this is still really good premium removal. And again, they kept it at an appropriate rarity in my book.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you use this in every list, or is it situational for you?
I use it in most lists. It's not in everything, but it's in almost everything.
Okay. And yeah, and let me know, guys, if we missed anything as we're going through these colors. I know. Feel free to holler. I have my eyes on the chat. I said I would definitely take it to the audience for any cards that we might have glazed over. I feel like we're doing a thorough job here. I'll try to be thorough. The next card we want to talk about is one that I know is a little contentious because of its upshift in rarity, but I'm in agreement with it. And it's Demonic Tutor. This card always needs reprints. If you don't own a Demonic Tutor, I'm sorry. It's a really good card. So for a generic and a black, search your library for a card, put that card into your hand, then shuffle. Now, I do want to make mention that when this card was originally printed, and this is one of the OGs, it was uncommon. So at that time, it would make sense in my book for this to be uncommon because the card pool is so limited. Your options for this card are limited. Like it's not that good. But now, after nearly 30 years of Magic? Has it been 30 years? There's a lot more to search for. And this card has become superiorly playable. This is one of the most playable cards out there. It's fantastic. If you don't own a copy, good luck pulling a copy. Have fun drafting with this. Like this will fix everything for you. And you should be playing this card casually or competitively. The thing I think is most upsetting though is that it's going to be hard to pull that mythic rare foil alt art version by Donato Giancolo, which is
gorgeous.
I think it's the best demonic tutor. I love I own the I don't own a beta or alpha, but I own that original art in some sort of revised version. I still like that one a lot because it's got that devil worshipping vibe that we all know and love from Magic. But this version is I think my absolute favorite. It is so good. Anyway, any thoughts on the upshift and rarity? Any thoughts on the card itself? It's pretty self-explanatory, this one.
Yeah, I mean, when you look at what they've been doing with tutors in the very, recent sets, for instance, Demonic Bargain, which is a crappy version of Demonic Tutor, 1 extra mana, and you have to exile the top 13 cards of your library before tutoring, and that's a rare. It makes sense for Demonic Tutor to be upshifted. You could have made Demonic Bargain a common in comparison to Demonic Tutor.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. Yeah. I don't mind. It just it stinks, and I remember it was like Vampiric Tutor was Mythic Rare when I pulled it from my the previous Commander set, and I was really fortunate to have gotten a copy when I did because I needed one. So it's not impossible, but I did go through 8 boxes of that product. So good luck finding one. Hopefully you get this one. This one looks amazing. The next card on the list is a piece of premium interaction that hasn't been printed in over 15 years, and that's Imp's Mischief. This is one of my absolute favorite cards. I've always talked about this card. I always suggest you run this card. If you're in black, this is the kind of interaction you need. So it's generic in a black for instant speed and change the target of target spell with a single target. You lose life equal to the spell's mana value. Generally speaking, you're going to lose like 1 to 3 life depending on the type of interaction you're hitting with this, but this is it's a redirect, and redirects in black.
I don't know about you, Patrick, but I'm losing that 7 life to redirect Peer into the Abyss.
Oh, excuse me. I'm sorry. No, you're right. That is so that's a rare scenario. But if you have the 2, or if you have a Dark Ritual in hand and Imp's Mischief, like, rip it, lose the life, steal, like, just wait to see what happens while it's on the stack, you know? Like, ask the table, like, are we okay with him doing Peer into the Abyss? Are we, oh, we're okay? Okay, Imp's Mischief. Because it's like, then you'll be okay with me doing Peer into the Abyss, right?
Exactly.
Yeah, 100% agree. Will just stated, like, an excellent reason for it. The ceiling is extremely high. The floor is just as good. Like, it's first class kind of interaction. And
it's a negate. It's a negate at worst case scenario, and the negate in outside of blue is fantastic.
Right, exactly. I love the original art too, so I'm glad they maintained it. We're getting 2 copies of this. I didn't realize that the price has shifted to above $25. This is great. This is great news. I hope you pull one. Again, I find it to be premium interaction.
Agreed.
I want the alt art Demonic Tutor. Such sick art. 100% agree. Mr. GJ. Although I still want the creepy doll. Oh, the creepy doll Judge foil is really good for Demonic Tutor. I agree. That I know some people don't like the owl logo in the text box, but I still like that version a lot. Loves Imp's Mischief and Commander Commandeer reprint. Commandeer is blue. We can jump back up there in a second though. So the next one I want to talk about is a mythic rare. Will likely always be a mythic rare, and we've talked about it a lot on this channel. It is Razaketh, the Foul-Blooded. So for 8 mana, Will was mentioning this as a loyal retainer setup. 8 for 8/8, flying trample, pay 2 life, sacrifice another creature, search your library, Demonic Tutor. It's Demonic Tutor. It was printed in Amonkhet at Mythic Rare, as I mentioned. There's a couple versions of it. My personal favorite, if we're just getting into art now, is the version from Secret Lair. It's so good. But this one's really menacing. Like, this has a look to it that's fantastic. It's getting reprinted again. If you don't own a copy of Razaketh, or if you have a friend that needs it, well, it's trade fodder. This is one of those black staples that you should just own. It's generally a part of a reanimate strategy, but there are ways to cheat him out as well, beyond reanimate. It's fine. If you have to hardcast him, is it the worst thing?
Not really. And if you're in something like Kodama Timna, Kodama ramps you really quickly. Getting to 8 mana is not hard in that deck. And I do want to say, this was the first foil mythic I ever pulled. Amonkhet Razaketh.
You still have it?
That for fact. I don't think I still have it. I traded it to a friend.
Well, hopefully you pull one of the versions from here. I don't think he gets an alt art. This is very deserving of an alt art. Like, I hope they do an alt art.
It doesn't look like he has one, but maybe we'll see an alt art spoil for him. So
right, yeah, not yet. I mean, I feel like it would have come out with this standard one, but
yeah.
The last card to mention, because I'm all about premium interaction, and I think more people should be running interaction, especially with all the Orcish Bowmasters out there. You don't have to put too much life into this card either, folks. It's Toxic Deluge. It's 2 generic and a black. Remove the board. Start clearing the board, please. What's nice about this is it doesn't care that your creature's indestructible. If your creature has 0 defense, then it's a non-bow. I don't care. I don't care what your card says. Get it off the board. This is one of the better removal spells. It's always been one of the better removal spells. It's funny because it's like taking the spot of, like, white is known for its board destruction and creature, like mass creature removal, but black just does it better with Toxic Deluge. And in my opinion, Rakdos with Fire Covenant, like, this is just that good. You should be running it, and it's not going to affect your ad-nos that much. Like, if you can't even get the ad-nos off because of the board state, use this. It will help. That's my last black card, though. It was a rare before. It's a rare now. It makes sense. Premium interaction.
My only notable thing for Toxic Deluge is it has gotten a little bit worse because of Orcish Bowmaster recently, only because there's a lot of times when you're going to have to pay 20 life to remove the board.
Right, well,
there's that one 20/20 token.
Right, that's when you're like, oh, God, I guess, am I going to have to waste my Chain of Vapor on your stupid token?
Yeah.
Right, or mind you, I guess you could do... your Psych Rift would be good there. See, we just got Psych Rift. We just got Psych Rift. Yeah, I know exactly what you mean. It's funny, like, Bowmaster does make this it doesn't make it worse. Just you're gonna eat that. You're gonna eat that amass token for sure. Like 100%.
Yeah.
It's going towards you after you do this. Also, you're in black. Like you're probably on Adnos or PETA. Are there any other black cards you wanted to mention from this set?
I have two that are kind of nice because one is a combo card that's fallen out of play but gotten a little bit more play recently, and then the other one is just a very good generic card. So firstly, Blood Chief's Ascension. It got a reprint.
I was gonna mention it, but I didn't know. And there's also an alt art. I'll put it on the alt art. But yeah. Thoughts on Blood Chief Ascension from Zendikar. It was a rare. It's still a rare.
Yeah, when it was initially printed, it was actually a cEDH combo card because cEDH didn't have a lot of combos. Now we have actual good combos and we don't need it as much. But there was a deck that uses I think it's Starscream and Blood Chief's Ascension to combo off and win. Because if I remember correctly, that's just a 2-card combo, and it's an interesting Transformers combo for anyone who likes the Transformers stuff.
Sorry.
So I think that was a combo. I can't remember if it's
when you
that
draw a card. Whenever you draw a card, if you're a monarch, target opponent loses 2 life. Whenever one or more creatures deals combat damage to you, convert Starscream. Is it?
Oh, I think it's that. It's a pseudo Blood Chiefs. I can't remember. There's something weird that people ran Blood Chiefs Ascension in that Starscream deck. I can't remember why though.
Okay.
But
okay.
It's still an interesting card of note. But yeah, so Starscream uses it. I know for a fact. I can't remember why exactly, but it's still a good burn card, still a good combo card.
Starscream players, give us the deets. Let us know. Let us know.
And then my second card was Gravepact, just because it's a really good card. It's not much of a cEDH card, but is a very powerful casual card. It is one of those kill on sight things that everyone hates to see their play group use. So happy it got reprinted.
Yeah, and did you see the alt art for this one? There's like this guy with like there's this guy with like a small like garden pail who's about to like stab a body under like a curtain or something. It's the weirdest. Kev Walker, by the way, prolific. It's one of his coolest cards. But yeah.
There was one other card that I wanted to mention that it got a reprint, and the only reason why I want to mention it is because the card had the worst art ever, and now it has like some okay-ish art, and it's Endrick. So Endrick is the guy that when you cast a creature spell, you make thralls equal to that creature spell CMC. He's been a weird combo commander for a while, but because you can use the thralls to sacrifice for Altar of Dementia, or sorry, not Altar of Dementia, but
Ashnaughts.
Ashnaughts and Phyrexian Altar, and you can use the Thralls for Razaketh because you cast Razaketh, get 8 Thralls, use the 8 Thralls to tutor 8 times. So Endrick has been a weird combo commander that I know a couple people have tried making him work, and he went from like not looking like a legendary card at all, just a random guy walking in a room, to oh yeah, look, this guy looks like he's on the level of someone like Yawgmoth or Urza. Actually looks chill. Also, that beard. That beard, man.
You know, he grew a beard for this set.
Exactly.
Yeah, he's wizened or wizened. I love the cloak with the eyeballs on it too, because his original cloak did not have a series of eyeballs.
Yeah, and he looks so buggy in the original art, because if you actually zoom in on his face, it looks like he's going like, ugh.
Yeah. You're saying art improvement. Okay.
Yeah, art improvement. That's the one reason why I want to bring up this card.
So, and we got Yargle too. Special mention.
Yeah, Frog Boy. Better with the tree though.
Way better with the tree. Moving on to red. We'll mention this earlier, but it's certainly worth mentioning again, especially with I think people believe this is Corvold. They're probably right. I'll put it on this one. We have Deflecting Swat. So come to slay the dragon for good, the good of the kingdom. How terribly predictable. Are we sure this is Corvold? At any rate, it's Deflecting Swat. So if you haven't seen this card, it's also a redirect, but it's a free redirect if you control your commander. Yes, it's a rare. All good interaction should be. It's fantastic. Deflecting Swat is a must own. It's an auto include in every red list. One of the best instant speed interaction even outside of red. Play it. But yeah,
agreed.
let me know if
Same
this
reason
is
as Fierce card.
what was yeah, exactly same reason as Fierce Guardianship. Sadly, Flawless Maneuver not quite as good. Sadly, Deadly Relic not quite as good, but still
And
fun.
sadly, whatever the green one is called, not
You
nearly
don't even
as
know.
good.
I think it's like a fog, maybe. I don't even remember.
It is a fog. It's 100% a fog. I just don't know its name.
Okay, yeah, that's why it's could probably be an uncommon. We'll see if it we'll see if they downshift,
It could be a common, in my opinion.
and it would still be fair. Yeah, I
Yeah.
agree. It still would be unplayable. But the
Actually,
D-swap.
man, imagine Popper with that as a common, though. That'd be the
Okay.
best fog in the game. Let's go.
Never mind. Uncommon. Let's keep it uncommon.
Okay.
We've got for my last card from red. I gotta say, red didn't get too much, but Vandal
Yeah.
Blast. I know. Yeah, Vandal Blast is one of them. This is probably the second best Overload card. I'll say that. I'll make that claim. This is the second best Overload card. So it's gonna say Mizzix Mastery or something. I think for
Mystics is the only other one that I think could compare. Yeah.
right, like so far as playable removal though, and I wouldn't qualify this as a premium interaction. It's always been at the uncommon slot if I'm not mistaken. This card is fantastic. Like it's a 1 red for a sorcery, destroy target artifact, so it's linear in what it does. But mind you, its artifacts are probably one of the high, like I would say that percentage wise of a list, artifacts make up a large portion of most list. Artifact ramp is sort of the thing to do, particularly in cEDH, and not to mention if you have a setup where, let's say that someone has, they did their dockside, but there's a rule of law out, right? And they're just sitting on 7 treasures. When you overload this for 5, it's a big deal because they don't want to waste their treasures for nothing. But you have that potential. Or it's just removal for that 1 Trinity Sphere or whatever it needs to go towards. It's going to help you combo off on turn. I like it a lot.
Yeah, it's a fantastic card. I slot it in a lot of different red decks and some 2-color decks. Once you hit 3-color, there's probably better options, but it's still just a good card. Also, I looked it up. Winds of Abandon and Dam are probably better than Vandal Blast. Those are the only two that I think are better.
Right now, because they're the value obscuring haze vegan. Thank you, obscuring haze. We weren't asking though. We didn't really want to know. But now it's gonna be stuck in my memory. Yes, I agree. Winds of Abandon is cracked. It is a good card. You're absolutely right. Because creatures are so relevant now in Commander.
And Damn, exact same reason.
Oh my god, Damn is overload, right? It's modal overload.
Double black, kill a thing, 2 white, Wrath of God.
Yeah, so good. At any rate, that's all I have for red. Do you have anything to add to that pile?
Just what you had.
Okay, cool. Look at us, same wavelength.
Yeah.
Green though, I'm gonna be curious. I have 4 things for green.
I think I have 6 or 7. I got 7 for green.
You said Craterhoof doubling season, didn't you?
I actually didn't have Craterhoof, but I did have doubling season.
Okay.
Just because doubling season's always notable. Craterhoof, I don't even think about Craterhoof ever.
No, neither do I. But that's not to say it's bad. So the first card,
there's decks that run it.
yeah, it's like certain decks can certainly run it, but I don't think it sees much cEDH play, and that's usually where I hover. But Finale of Devastation is probably one of the best tutors for green. It's a finisher in a lot of lists with its X over. All of there was a chain of finales that had when X is blank or more, do a thing. Finales is the best. It's Finales says if X is 10 or more, plus X to all creatures you control, and they gain haste.
Finale is the best finale of all the finales.
Right.
It's so much so that it has been given the title of Finale.
Right, so when you get to the end of the Wooburg Pie, green had the finale to end all finales. It's a creature tutor at a low cost of double green and X, 2 battlefield, with the added benefit of that finisher, and it's used in a lot of instances. You'll you'll have a flush board. You can use this with Eternal Witness. There are Eternal Witness loops with this in a Tamir Sabertooth and mono green. But outside of that, generally speaking, creature tutors aren't leveraged as highly in your 4 to 5 colored decks outside of maybe a lone Eldritch Evolution or a Bioform. But this is one of those effects that could still qualify because it's doubles as a finisher. It's in the Mythic Rare slot. This card, I believe, has always been a Mythic Rare. And I think that this is more in line with how they evaluate tutors now. I think that this makes sense for this card. It is very good. Yeah.
Yeah. It's recovery, it's a win con, it's tutor, it's everything you'd want in a card. It's so good. It's utility on top of just being a fantastic effect to start.
Yeah, no, I agree. Sorry. Next up, I have a card that can always use a reprint, and it's very good interaction. Heroic Intervention. So I believe this was in Kaladesh originally.
Yes.
And it's always been rare. It's currently rare. It's good. White literally just got a better card with Surge of Salvation, just strictly better at uncommon. But for green, this form of interaction is still good. Mind you, there are elements of this card that are still good. But for a generic and a green, your permanence gain hexproof and indestructible until end of turn. Like, that's a big deal, especially against things like
that wasteland.
Right, or to take that wasteland, or take that culling ritual gets shut off. Like, you're not gonna nuke my board. I'm sorry, I'm gonna keep my board. Like the Collector of Stays, your whatever Aethersworn Canonist stays, my Esper Sentinel stays. It's a good form of interaction. I like that it's included in this set. I think if you don't own a copy, you should just have a copy. Yeah.
Agreed.
The next one I want to touch on is, it's almost exclusively for the mono green list. There's a few maybe Golgari lists that would want it, but it's a good card, and it's Orin Frostfang. For 3 generic, it's Snow Creature that I'm just taking in now. For 3 generic and double green, 2/6 body, attacking creatures you control have Death Touch, relevant for some combos. But moreover, whenever a creature you control deals damage to a player, you draw a card. So it's not limited to like whenever one or more creatures deals damage. It's like nah, draw a bunch. So there's a squirrel that does the same thing, but I think that this is better. And we also got a really cool art variant for this card too. I can't believe I've never noticed this as a snow creature.
It's because they haven't had the special framing for it before.
Yeah, okay. But with the framing, I'm now realizing that he's like in a snowy field. It is in a snowy field. And with the alt art, it's even more apparent. Like, there's snow blasting by this Frostfang. It's even called Frostfang. What?
Yeah. I knew it was a snow creature, but I'm like, I get why people wouldn't know it's a snow creature.
But you play it in your the green blue list. What's it called? The snow list from Kaldheim.
Oh, are you talking about Jorn? God of Winter?
Do you play him in Jorn?
No, but it's also Jorn isn't Jorn's Sultai. Green, blue, black.
Okay.
The backside's Dimir, front side's mono green.
Yeah, you don't need Orin Frostfang then.
Yeah, but Orin Frostfang sees playing a good amount of decks. If you're playing a creature deck and you run green, you're pretty much always playing Frostfang and Toski, with very small exceptions.
Yeah.
And then Frostfang is a combo card with Finn, so have fun.
100%. The last card I have to mention is a rare, and it has always been a rare, if I'm not mistaken. But again, it's not a premium tutor like Finale of Devastation, but it does end games with the right amount of mana. Tooth and Nail for 5 generic and double green. You can search a library for up to 2 creature cards and reveal them, put them into your hand. If you entwine this sucker, which is what you want to do, you put the creatures onto the battlefield instead, right? And technically it could be a creature from your hand that was already there, can go on the battlefield too. So don't think that, you have to find the 2 combo cards. You could have both combo cards, or 1 combo card in hand and 1 combo card from your deck, and finish the combo that way too. Generally speaking, this is exactly what I'm saying, though. It's a finisher. Like, you're going to try to put a 2-card combo that's creature based on the battlefield. There aren't too many copies of this card, and they've kind of come up in price. They've never been horribly expensive, but I actually really like this version of the art as well, so I'm glad we're getting it there. And I think Yes, this alt art version is really cool. Did I share an image of this card with you? We didn't spoil this card, but I saw that this alt art version existed. Don't ask me how. It looks really good in person. That's it for green though from me. Those are the best of the best.
I also thought that there was a tooth and nail that was a mythic at one point, but no, there wasn't. It's always been a rare.
Always been a rare.
So I have 4 more green cards to add to the list, and I didn't
Oh,
have
God.
heroic intervention, weirdly enough.
Mm.
But to start off, I wanted to talk about just Azusa Lost but Seeking. If you're playing a deck that runs any kind of land strategy, Azusa is kind of usually a go-to in those decks
Mm-hmm.
because it's 3 mana, play 2 additional lands every turn. There are a lot of crazy things that you can do with that. You can ramp super hard, and there have been more land decks that have slowly been popping up here and there. So Azusa is just a cool and interesting card to run in a lot of different decks, and it went from like this insane powerhouse card that very few people bought because it was so expensive to being a much more inexpensive card, and it just slowly keeps going up and getting reprinted now. And I love that it went from probably somewhere around $50 to now staying around below 10 actually. I'm very happy because this is a good card that more people should be running, and now more people can run it.
Yeah, and I'm obsessed. I am obsessed with the profile version. I think this is probably the best profile art card. Like,
Yes. I
it's
think
just
Azusa has the only good one in my opinion.
I want to give them. There's some good ones. I like the Kozilek. It's pretty monstrous looking. He just looks like a big thumb.
Yeah.
but
Look at
he's
this. Look at this dude straight out of Spy Kids movie.
yeah. But I just love the art for Azusa. This is easily my favorite. Anyway, what else? You said doubling season. I'm assuming that's next.
Yes, doubling season would be next. So it's doubling season. You can do things with planeswalkers, have a planeswalker enter a double. It's fantastic, and you can get a couple BS things. It's just such a notable card. Whenever it gets reprinted, you always have to take a look at it. It does almost nothing in cEDH, but it's so good and casual that you do have to note it for the set.
I said I wouldn't note price, but doubling season is one of those things that will always be the cost of like a video game almost. So
Yeah.
it's nice to see that these need as many reprints as possible, I suppose is what I'm saying. We've gotten a couple of other versions of this card, even in other colors, but doubling season's still probably the creme de la creme for both of these effects, these static effects. And like Will was saying, like great in Super Friends, which we might do, but I don't think that Super Friends list incorporates green. We won't say what it is. But yeah, I agree with you. Good card, very notable.
I mean, yes. What Super Friends or new card are we going to talk about in or what could the colors be of the new Super Friends card when there's only new cards in the Commander's decks and there's a Super Friends Commander decks?
Right. What is
Man, I wonder if it could possibly be in the colors of the Super Friends Commander deck.
What is Commodore Guff again? Not to lead the witness here.
Freaking what blue, white, red, but I can't remember the name of that pair for some reason.
Jessica? No, not Jessica. Not Jessica.
Jeskai Ascendancy. Yeah, Jeskai.
Okay. Sorry. Anyway, doubling season.
Yeah, so doubling season. It's 5 mana, your Planeswalker's ETB alt. Yeah.
Go to town.
Yeah. Next, I have Selvala, Heart of the Wilds, which I'm kind of surprised that you didn't talk about, considering that it's such a notable card and a good card, because it's been seen play in the 99 of a lot of decks recently, but it's also just a really good commander by itself. So I like it. I think it's a card that should be noted that it's getting reprinted, especially since it has always had the weirdest price ever because it keeps jumping around to a million different numbers.
Yeah, it's odd. And like I remember picking up foils for this card was such a pain for a time, just because there was when I was playing Savala, there was just like the one printing. That could come in foil.
Say, I hate the portrait for Savala. I think it's the hot pink that's making me hate it so much. If it was like more of a like dimmer color, I think I'd like it a lot better. But it's hot pink on a mono green card.
I don't dislike it. I understand what you're saying though, because what bothers me is how it's reflective. When you shine a light in a room and then there's a colored surface, you know how that colored surface can project its tone onto an individual skin tone? You're getting that effect here. I don't know what that phenomena is called, or it's just reflection, really. You get this like pinkish hue on her skin that I don't think would otherwise be there, and it was a choice. Like it's an odd choice to me because I don't think it's as apparent when you look at like Azusa. Like Azusa should have logically like a green tint on her skin from her surrounding, which is just this weird green world she's in. But you don't see that as heavily. I think that's the only thing that bothers me, that she's so pink.
Pink.
And pink background.
She looks like an Oompa Loompa.
Yeah, it's up there. But otherwise, it's gorgeous. Like, Jack Hughes did a fantastic job on the art. Like, I love her hat. Like, it has all the iconic elements of her. Like, the little bit of hair on the side, her pointy ears. She's an elf, obviously.
Yeah.
It's cool. This is the version I would play if I jump back in, just because I am actually a big fan of this profile art style. It's very similar to what One Piece does with their alt arts. But yeah, I agree. And it's notable. I didn't know people were running it in the 99. That's good to hear.
Yeah, it's because Ragged Draga runs it in the 99, and there's a couple other decks that care about make mana equal to power things, like Dargo. If you have Dargo as your commander and run green, you probably have Selvala.
Can I guess your next card? Is it Song of the Dryads?
It is not Song of the Dryads, actually.
Okay.
My next card is the Great Henge.
Okay.
And that's the Great Henge is really good in those mono green decks when you're trying to storm off with creatures, and it makes mana. It sees a ton of play in casual, very niche play in competitive. But when you have a deck that runs the Great Henge, it does so much work.
Yeah, this is originally a mythic from Throne of Eldraine. Still mythic, still makes sense. I ran it in Selvala when I played Selvala. It's a good outlet in that list. Yeah, I agree with you. I like it a lot.
Yeah.
That's it for green, though, from you?
Yep. That was my last one for green.
Nice. That puts us...
have Song of the Dryads.
I don't have any multicolored cards mentioned because in most cases, this is just an opportunity for you to pick up what might be your favorite legendary, again, like a Yuriko and foil if you missed an opportunity, a Scarab God. Teysa Karlov, it gets the profile treatment, and she is also like a popular commander to play. But I wouldn't say any of these are hyper notable. I think Marin is a card that probably could have been reprinted, and she is here. Right? Is there's the Secret Lair? Let me see. She's been reprinted in a few. Not really. She has few reprints. I don't really have any multicolored cards to mention though offhand. Do you have any that you want to mention from here?
Pretty much just the commanders, because I think the ones that I have are the Dragon, just because everybody loves the Wooburg Dragon. A couple of the face commanders from the new set, and then Yuriko. That's it.
And so for those of you, just not to jump off topic, the Dragon gets a really sick profile. I like the sort of what is it, mauve background. But guys, if you're jumping in a little bit later, don't worry, Ryan, that you woke up late. That's okay. Thanks for joining us. But thanks to all the viewers. This is going to be a video on demand as well. So if you hadn't had a chance to watch the whole thing, feel free to rewind it. The conversation earlier started with the front end of Wooburg. And of course, we're going to finish with Colorless in just a moment. But I appreciate you guys checking out the channel. If you want to help out the channel, feel free to leave this a like and or share it with a friend. This is going to be a more all-encompassing overview of the set before we go into our sort of like topicals or listicles that we generally do for our pre-recorded work. So if you ever want to get like better coverage, you should always join the lives when we do like full set overviews. My cat is going crazy. I hope you don't hear him. Can you hear him, Will?
I can hear him every now and then, but okay. I don't hear him now.
Oh my God, he just does this in the middle of the day. He's just a horny boy cat. That's and I'm just gonna be honest with you. It gets old. It gets really, really old. My fiance's out there.
I think I hear him meowing as you're talking, because I think your mic activates on Discord when that happens.
That's nice. I don't have too much to mention outside of like the face commanders, obviously. There are some other cool notable legends that are coming out that I cannot wait to discuss with you guys from those precons, but that will come later. They're not spoiled yet, and I'm not officially allowed to tell you about them. But yeah. The only colorless card, and this is incorporating, I'm just roping this into one thing. This is artifacts and just colorless cards. But we have all the way here, no, there, Jeweled Lotus. That's notable. That's the
Yeah.
only one I have to bring up. It's a mythic rare. It's still a mythic rare. It's Jeweled Lotus.
Yeah, Jeweled Lotus is a good card. It turns out having Black Lotus, even with restrictions, is really good.
Yeah, it feels weird. Like sometimes you feel like it's squandered if you only use two of the mana to cast your 2-cost commander or whatever. Or
But then it's like you're fine with using one mana with Lotus Petal to do the exact same thing but worse.
right. So what is your limit? I would say, like, if your commander is Wooburg, do you run Jeweled Lotus?
Not really. Like I'll run Jeweled Lotus if I need my commander out quickly and my command or like I'll run Jeweled Lotus if I need my commander out quickly. That's kind of just the way that I'll put it because there are a couple decks where I know that I need to do setup before getting my commander out, and at that point I'm like there's no point in getting my commander out early. It's not going to be good because I need to wait. So I'll run it in pretty much every deck except for those decks where I want to wait to get my commander out.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, it's weird. We got like it's not for every list, but I think a majority of commanders, I'd say like 8 out of 10 are going to want this card. But there's like 4 versions of it actively here.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
And
I'm going to Will, why don't you lead us with like the next medallion? I need to see if he's alive. What's wrong with me? He's going off. I'm assuming you want to talk about the medallions. I'll put it on Ruby Medallion.
I can just go over the medallions really quickly. So all of the medallions are also getting a reprint right now, which is fantastic because most of them are ridiculously expensive. And they see play in a lot of different decks, mostly monocolor decks. And in Spellslinger decks, the medallions are really good. I'm very happy the medallions have gotten reprinted. I know Carrick decks run Jet Medallion. I know stuff like Godo, they run Ruby Medallion. And then even mono green runs it and sometimes with decks like Marwyn the Nurturer. So each of the medallions is very useful except for the white one. Because I know that blue does Spellstorm, red does Spellstorm, green can do Creature Storm and is fine with it, and then black has Garrick. So yeah, the medallions are good. Happy that they're getting reprinted. So since I think Patrick said that he only had the one colorless, I might just quickly go through the other ones that I have because I have Thran Dynamo on my list as well, and Patrick is back, so I'll wait for Patrick.
What's
Hello,
up? Hey.
hello. So I went through the medallions. TLDR just said all but the white one are very playable because Godo plays the red one, Carrick plays the black one. The Creature Storm decks like Marwyn play the green one, and then a lot of decks use the blue one. Simple as that.
Yeah, no, I agree. And they've all been at a high cost because they just haven't had a reprint in a while. So at rare, were these at uncommon originally? Hold up.
I think they were rare.
Yeah, no, they have always been rare, even when it comes to Tempest. And I know a lot of people sort of value that art still. I think there's like a Snoopy version of a card. There's a rare misprint of a Tempest variant. I think it's the Sapphire Medallion there's like an image of Snoopy in the text box. I could be lying to you, but I know that these are collectible somewhat. So that also drives the price, but I haven't run a medallion in a long time, and the last time I think I slammed it in a list was Dreadhorde Champion, Neheb. Do you use any of the medallions?
Not really. Like I think I had I had the red one in my Godo list for a while, and I used the black one when I brewed Godo, and I think I used the green one when I brewed Marwyn, and that's pretty much been it.
Gotcha. Are there any other notable mentions from Colorless you want to bring up?
I got a couple. One is Zuladoc. We've talked about it. We can kind of blow over Zuladoc.
Right. Yeah.
The other one is Champion's Helm. Champion's Helm is a card that was kind of mediocre because we haven't had a good Voltron commander, and now we have a good Voltron commander because Slicer loves Champion's Helm.
Yeah, he does.
So for those of you who don't know, Slicer Hired Muscle is a 5 mana 3/4 double strike, And you can play him for 3 mana to have him be a 3/2 first strike that when he deals combat damage flips to the front side. And sorry, haste double strike and haste first strike. Um, the dumb thing is Slicer on the front side says at the beginning of each player's upkeep, you may give control of Slicer to that player, untap Slicer, goad it, make it so that it can't be sacrificed, and all of this until the end of the turn. So the idea is you play Slicer turn 1, hit someone for 3, then pass him around to deal 6 damage on everybody else's turns, making it so that you deal 21 commander damage in one rotation. Any buff and any protection on Slicer is game ending. So, for instance, Champion's Helm, which you can equip to Slicer for 1, gives him hexproof and +2/+2. So with that double strike, that means that the Champion's Helm is letting you do an increased 16 damage per rotation. I believe that would come out to be because it's a 4/4/4/4. Yeah, so you do 16 more damage with Champion's Helmet Slicer, meaning that you're ending the game and protecting Slicer. Yeah, Champion's Helm's actually playable now.
And you get a sick, like, very Conan the Barbarian-esque looking version of it. So
I love that alternate art. It's so much better than the standard art because the standard art is just a mask going.
Yeah. Let's see if I can make the face.
Yeah. It's such the derpy art, but now we got a good art. So,
yeah, well, I mean, it's like I feel like they sort of framed it and tried to make it look like the Chain Veil, which is kind of iconic. It's not as cool, sadly.
Didn't this come out before the Chain Veil?
Ooh.
I think this was out before the Chain Veil.
For Commander 2011, and then the Chain Veil is Commander Magic 2015. Wow.
Yeah.
Wow, Vulcan Baga stealing framing style. I mean, I love Vulcan Baga's work, so I'm gonna give it to Vulcan here, but for perfecting it. But no offense, I agree with you though. I like the alt art a little bit better.
Yep. And speaking of good protective equipments, Hammer of Nazan.
Yeah,
that's another good one because this card is very notable for Godo. It's notable for some of the other weird equipment decks, but Godo is the deck that made this an insane card. It's also a really good card for Slicer because indestructible and 2 attack is all you really care about. So
yeah, for foil hunters, I don't think this is the first time you've had a copy. A Double Masters had another copy you could get in foil. So if you're trying to foil out your Godo, well, here you go, another option. Respian, local game guy, thanks, you're welcome. Local game group, of course. But I have a lot of these cards already. Is there any more colorless cards you want to mention before we close this one out?
2 more, and I mentioned one to you before, Thran Dynamo. Thran Dynamo's just been a pretty good mana source for the decks that needed extra mana. It's usually good in the monocolor decks that aren't green.
Ooh.
Just because you get a lot of colorless mana from this every single turn, and it's just pretty nice. I can't remember if I'm running this in my new Arkham Daxon deck. I'm not sure. But I know that people run this in Godo. I know it's just a generally good mana rock because it's -1 for 3 extra mana from here on out.
Yeah, and I didn't notice the alt art for this, so.
Oh yeah, I forgot it had the alt art. Yeah, and the alt art is very Treasure Planet-esque. I do like it.
And what was that last one you want to mention? Is it Ulamog?
No, but you're on a very close track, and you've actually talked about this card earlier because it's Kozilek, the Great Distortion.
Oh, the big thumb.
Yeah, the big thumb. And Kozilek's on here because there's a couple decks that use this, weirdly enough, as an interaction piece and a hand refill piece. So
I love it.
It's a good card. This has also been one of those weirdly finicky cEDH commanders for a while. People have brewed Kozilek the Great Distortion as a cEDH commander, because if you can just dump your entire hand and play Kozilek, you refill your entire hand. So you can run all the fast mana you want, and then you have Kozilek on board, a full grip of 7, and you can discard whatever you want to counter whatever you want, so no one can really win the game, and you just beat people down with 12/12 menace.
Yeah, I mean... do you wish it had Annihilator? Of course you do, but...
yes, of course.
I mean, is this fair for... yeah, it's fair.
Yeah,
It's a good card.
it fully refills your hand. The fact that it does that is what makes it good enough.
Right. No, I agree. I run this in Belby. Honestly, it's one of my favorite cards to play out because getting to counter spells in Golgari just feels dirty, and I love it. But yeah, it's not so hard to get Kozilek out in that list, fortunately. But yeah, that deck did not have a good showing the last time I played it. I'll have to fine tune it, or maybe I'll just run Kozilek in a Zul'Adok deck because I definitely want to build Zul'Adok out. Any other thoughts though before we close this one? I want to thank you guys for joining us on the stream. Like I said, I need to make sure I make it to this salsa showcase. It's miserable out here though. Oh yeah, are you going? Are you gonna?
No, just salsa.
Oh snap!
There you go.
Yeah, stay tuned for more obviously content on Commander Masters. I would like to get something down for live stream gameplay. Either with other personalities in the space and or with you guys. If you would want to play on a stream, then that's maybe something we can accommodate in the future. I would need to figure out the logistics of that, but it would probably be over Discord. But I think that would be a great way to get something regularly going, because we do want to get regular Friday night Magic games going here on the channel. But that is something we'll have to figure out at another time. But at any rate, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Again, if you liked it, feel free to leave a like. Do share this video if you want to spread the word on Commander Masters content, the stuff that people should be picking up. Trust us. We're cEDH players, okay? We know what we're talking about. But Will, I'll let you sign off on this one.
Yeah, so we're going to be having some pretty cool things happening in the very near future and some pretty cool spoilers to talk about. So look forward to all of that. I hope you guys enjoyed the live stream. Peace.
Ciao, Bellows. Ciao, Bellows. I'm gonna give this a second because it's always a little laggy. It's always a little laggy on the actual live end. Secret.